Hey there everyone, it's Juan Romero here from SwitchWatch. I'm back with another indie review. This time it's a game called Earth Atlantis, provided to us by Head Up Games for review purposes, so thank you very much. If you're a new watcher here, then please consider subscribing. Thank you to all of our existing subscribers for watching and supporting us. Let's get into the Earth Atlantis review. In Earth Atlantis, the Earth's surface has been covered by 96% water due to the great climate shift at the end of the 21st century. The main capital cities have all but gone and now lay in ruin deep in the seas where all that's left is steel and stone. Machines now roam as they have adopted the form of terrifying sea creatures, and human civilization has fallen. All you know is that you're a hunter, and this is where your journey begins. The audio here is okay, but nothing really special that you're going to think, wow, I'll remember that. It's all pleasant enough, but I feel they could have done a little more with the sound effects, especially with the enemies. Considering that these are mechanical beasts that free roam the seas, I wanted to hear some fierce mechanical scary sounds. I just imagine being up against one of these huge bosses having some really special mechanical movement sounds or propelling sound effects when moving through the water. I was disappointed with the audio because that was what my imagination wanted to hear. The backing music was okay and inoffensive. Visually for me is where the game is really interesting and for me shines as it differentiates itself from other games out there. I do like this kind of art style. These look like sketches based on steel structures, and I love how you can see the background, the Statue of Liberty for example, showing that these are cities in ruin, but some important landmarks are still showing. Even though the visuals lack any colour, they do a good job of showing that you're underwater. The game looks great in both docked mode and in handheld. I didn't experience any slowdown, and what really comes to the fore for me is the detail in the mechanical creatures. I think it's stunningly well drawn, from the boss turtle to the whale or just the sea crabs on the rock face. I really liked the vast array of sea life in this game, which was out to kill you, and discovering more with each new section you opened up. The drawback of having this style, however, with the background level design is it can appear samey after a while. All the way through the game, without much variation, it can become a little bit tiresome over time. The gameplay in terms of this game is it's a side-scrolling retro shooter with a Metroidvania type map in where there are no levels, just areas to open up for you to explore. It's super simple to play and the controls feel tight and very intuitive. In fact, there is only the analog stick to move your submarine left and right, and you hold a button to fire your weapons, and that's basically all there is to it. The challenge here then is avoiding the enemies and the enemy fire. You get to choose one of 4 submarines, however 3 of these are locked at the beginning, which is to be expected. You then start exploring the seas where you'll be confronted by lots of differing types of enemies, from sharks to swordfish, which all look very robotic in nature. The aim of the game is simple here. Build up your submarine by killing the small fry so you can get your sub to a decent standard in terms of weapon fire. You want to aim for 5 bullets firing from the front of your sub and 4 from the back, and this will be different on other submarines because they will use different weaponry. The secondary weapon will be needed to defeat the bosses and range from H for homing missiles to E for electricity type based weapons, and these power ups all drop from, again, the small enemies that are on screen. The secondary weapons, however, is stackable but cannot be mixed together. They're found in crates and the map highlights where they are. It won't tell you what type of weapon you will find in each crate, so if you equip a homing missile for example and the next crate drops lightning based weapon, you will either have to leave one or swap. You cannot have both and then swap in an inventory, which is a little bit of a shame. Then there's the monster hunting aspect of the game, which is what your aim is at the end of the day. The map highlights where each of the bosses are, and it's your job to find them and take them down, but you want to be powerful enough to do so. I found this part of the game to be extremely fun. There is a casual, normal and hard mode to choose from, and I found it a high challenge on normal. You will encounter sea turtles, whales and all sorts of cool looking sea creature bosses with 25 to find, which is absolutely awesome. Each battle is different, with each boss having different weapons which they'll use against you, and I was surprised just how varied they are, from bouncing boulders to lightning bolts being fired at you. The worst for me though are the ones that hit you with one hit and you're dead. These are vastly overpowered weapons which you can't do anything about. I didn't find any shield as a power up, which would have been great. Now the game saves your progress, but here's the rub. Each time you die, you'll lose all of your weapons that you collected, and you'll have to grind them all again to get powerful enough to take on the boss where you just died. There's no good going straight back in with the lame pea shooter you start with. After a few times this was fine, but after the 10th or 11th time, this starts to become a major frustration, and it killed all of my initial enthusiasm I had for the game. There's hardly any checkpoints either, so it feels like you're starting from the beginning each time. Now if this was a roguelike with procedurally generated levels where it felt different each time and each death had meaning in that you could upgrade your submarine, I'd be fine with that. This though just feels ultra punishing for the sake of it, to the point that it drains your enjoyment. A few bad decisions from the developer here, in my opinion. When you complete the game, you'll unlock hunter mode and also a few more subs to play around with, which is welcome, but I'm honestly not sure how many players will have the dedication to go all the way to complete this. The game just gets really repetitive very quickly, and after trying to kill the 10th or 11th boss and dying over and over again, I'm not sure you're going to want to keep grinding to keep continuing. In terms of value, the game is super simple to pick up and play. There's no online mode here or a leaderboard, so the replayability is very limited once the game is complete. There's no opportunity to play with a friend either, and I think with all the games out on the eShop right now, this is slightly expensive for £13.49 or $15. It could have been done a little bit cheaper, and I think that would have enticed more people. Now in terms of my verdict then, this is a simple side-scrolling shooter which controls well, and if you've played these types of games before, then you kind of know what to expect. It has a really nice, interesting, sketching visual style. A side-scroller in a Metroidvania take is an interesting enough concept. Add the boss hunter part and you have a great premise for a game. Sadly, the audio was disappointing, and most importantly, I found the game to get repetitive and tedious very quickly, and this was due to the grinding nature of it, having to start with a bare bones submarine every time you die. Very punishing indeed, but if that does not bother you at all, then there's some enjoyment to be had here. For me then, a respectable but could have been better 6.5 out of 10. Now if you enjoyed this review guys, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, and if you're a new watcher here, then we have plenty of reviews on our channel. It'd be great if you considered subscribing. Leave me a comment below, let me know what your thoughts are on this game and whether you think it's worth picking up or not. My name's Juan Romero, and you know what I'm going to say guys, if you know me and you've followed me for long enough, I'll see you on the next one.